One of my viewers recently requested a $10 a week budget challenge. So while I was at Winco last week, I picked up some dry good items for this challenge as well. I purchased 1 carrot there, but the remainder of my veggies I picked up at Wholesome Choice. They are an ethnic market near where I live that has great deals on produce. Before I get started, let me tell you that today's video is sponsored by TEMU. They are an online marketplace that offers the best prices on products in multiple categories, including kitchen supplies, fashion, jewelry, home, decor, and pet supplies. In other words, they have just about everything. Later in the video, I'll be reviewing some kitchen products I received from them that are amazing deals. If you're on a budget, you'll definitely want to watch that section of the video. But first, let's get into what I purchased for this week's $10 budget challenge. Here are my groceries for the week. I spent $9.95 on food. I have a large portion of flour, some chana dal, kidney beans, pinto beans, rice. I will be using the textured vegetable protein again, and I picked up some orzo pasta. I've never used that before, so I'm excited about that. I purchased 3 potatoes, an onion, and a small amount of spaghetti. Hopefully I've got enough there for a meal, but I'm not sure. I got some diced tomatoes, bananas, and unfortunately 25% of my weekly budget was spent on this carton of eggs. Normally I do pick those up at Dollar Tree for $1.25, but they were out when I swung by there. I also noticed they were out of all beans and rice, so I'm hoping that they're not going to stop carrying those items at Dollar Tree. Anyway, I don't normally include butter, oil, or margarine in the budget, but I did want to show you that I will be using 2 sticks of margarine this week. Obviously, if you can afford butter is much healthier for you, but if you can only spend $10 a week on groceries, you probably can't afford butter. My cost for 2 sticks of margarine is 37 cents, and that will be included in this week's budget. This is an emergency weekly meal plan. This is not meant to be a long-term diet for anyone. This is just to be maybe helpful for meal ideas to help somebody get by in very lean times. The first thing I want to do is do some meal prep. I measured out the rice and I have a total of 2 cups of dry rice. I'm going to cook all the rice and then divide it into individual portions and put it in the freezer. That way I can just pull it out and microwave it when needed. I microwave my rice packets for 2 minutes from a frozen state, but you may need to adjust the time according to the wattage on your microwave. If the rice starts to dry out, you can always sprinkle some water over the rice prior to microwaving, but mine usually turns out perfect and that's not needed. There are 21 meals in this video. I'm not going to show me making each recipe because that would be incredibly boring and make for a very long video. Instead, I'll show each meal plated at the end of the video in a 3 to 4 second shot. I'll show the recipes for my favorite meals and place a link to any recipes in this video that I've made before. For example, I'll be making tortillas. I've made those before. I'll place a link to the tortilla video in the description of my video. First, I'll be making pancakes with a caramelized banana topping. My ingredients include 3/4 cup flour, 1.5 teaspoon baking powder, 1/2 tablespoon sugar, 1/8 teaspoon salt, 1/2 cup water, plus another 1/8 cup if needed, and 1.5 tablespoons butter or margarine. The original recipe called for milk, but we're going to be using water instead of milk, and I'm sure it'll be just fine. I wanted to make this first because it'll turn out better with our bananas being a little underripe rather than overripe. If you've watched my budget challenges before, you know that I like to do a lot of different things with oatmeal and other grains because they are such a great low-cost budget food. But sometimes it's okay to eat pancakes, and my mouth is watering just making these. There's no need for syrup when you caramelize the bananas. I knew this would be a little too sweet for my liking, so I did end up adding some plain bananas to offset the sweetness. This meal was perfect for a decadent Sunday breakfast. The pancakes were nice and fluffy, and it was a nice balance of flavors. I think this would have been really good with some crushed walnuts or pecans sprinkled over the top. I rarely eat pancakes, so this was a huge treat for me. I'll save the rest of the pancakes for later in the week. I was so excited to get the items I ordered from TEMU. Shipping was fast, and best of all, they have free shipping for new customers and free returns for up to 90 days. They accept all major credit cards and debit cards, including PayPal, Google Pay, Apple Pay, and even pay later programs like Klarna and Afterpay. I've been wanting to purchase some taco holders, but every time I see them, they're a lot more than I want to spend. When I saw these on TEMU for $1.99, I thought I would give it a try. I wasn't sure how well it would work, so I only ordered one, but as you can see, it holds my tacos perfectly, so I'll definitely be ordering more of these. I ordered this swivel kitchen organizer that was priced at $8.98, which is also called a Lazy Susan. I thought it would help me get organized with all of my sauces that are next to my stove. It looks like it's just deep enough, and it definitely has the swivel function. My sauce area does look messy, but they are necessary, and all of these items do get used daily. I love this product so much. It really helped to clean up the look of my counter. I could see myself buying a couple more of these, maybe one for the bathroom and possibly one for the inside of the fridge. I got this 5-piece wooden spatula cookware set for $8.99, which is a great deal. I love the shape of these, and I can't wait to cook with them. I also really love this small, long one that comes with it. I can imagine quite a few different uses that I'll have for this. This is a really great value. I also picked up this wooden cooking spoon, which will be perfect for soups and sauces. I got this 3-piece Japanese-style utensil set, which I love, and it was only $3.39. Okay, I was so excited to get this. This is definitely one of my favorite things that I got in my whole entire TEMU haul. And actually, my family kind of went crazy over this one as well. I like the special care that they took to wrap the glasses in. Nothing in my order came broken. This is one of those heat-resistant glasses that you can drink your coffee in, and I thought this was absolutely stunning. I love it. I also like that I'm able to find products on TEMU that I can't always locate in US stores. This will be great for biscuits and cookies. And I also picked up one of these foldable little funnels. I have a tiny kitchen, so I need all of the storage space I can get. I need this to fill up my bottles with oils and things like that. I also picked up this for $2.19. This will help to form the eggs and will make a perfect egg or an English muffin. I got this roller because my wooden roller has been sticking, so I wanted to try the silicone non-stick rolling pins, and this one feels very, very nice. I'm excited to see how well it does. Leave me a comment down below if you know what this is. I have been wanting one of these, so when I saw it on TEMU, I grabbed it. You'll definitely be seeing this in an upcoming budget challenge video. I thought this glass set would be perfect for drinking iced coffee at home. It comes with a glass straw and a lid. I can see why these have been so popular, and at $6.99, this is another great value. TEMU is offering 30% off to my viewers, and all new customers receive free shipping. Don't forget to click the link in the description box for 30% off your order. And now let's get back to the video. Next up, I'm making lunch, and I'm in the mood for a baked potato. It feels luxurious to be on an extreme budget and still be able to eat an entire potato for lunch. One of my favorite ways to eat baked potato is with some onion, butter, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. This will only be part of my lunch though, because obviously this is not going to be enough protein, so I will be making another dish to go along with this. Chana dal was on sale this week at Wholesome Choice, so that's why I selected it. And I'm going to make a thick soup to go with my baked potato. There's a lot of protein in chickpeas, so that'll help add nutrition to my meal. I'll season with some onions, a dash of turmeric, cumin, and garlic powder. I want very subtle seasoning with most of the flavor coming from the chickpeas. I'll add in 1/3 of the tomatoes for some acidity. The chana dal tastes delicious on its own. Sometimes I think when you season things, you kind of take away from the real taste and flavor of the ingredient. So in this instance, I just wanted to have a real mild flavor of the seasonings that would just maybe accentuate the natural flavor of the chana dal. I love this soup. I'm really enjoying using the kale, and I had some chopped chives in my pantry, so I went ahead and sprinkled that on the potato, but mostly it's just going to be flavored with onion. I'll get about 3 servings out of this pot of chana dal soup. This was a meal that I made the next day. I just popped my rice into the microwave and I cooked it for 2 minutes. You might want to check it after 1 minute and 30 seconds, depending on how hot your microwave is. But I found that from a frozen state, 2 minutes works fine for me. And I have to say, this was actually one of my favorite meals. I really liked the chana dal on top of the rice. It made a nice chewy texture. And I made these kale chips, and I've made those in the past and they were really good too, but I've never eaten them along with a meal like this, and I would definitely eat it like that again because it was a nice texture variation. To make the kale chips, I tore the kale into bite-sized pieces, sprinkled it with some olive oil, salt, and garlic powder, gave it a good toss, and baked it for about 15 to 20 minutes at 275. They turned out crispy and delicious. I made some biscuits to go with some of my breakfasts for the week. I've also made these before on my channel. I'll put a link to that video in the description box. If you're on a tight budget, biscuits are great because they can be made with just a few ingredients that you probably already have in your pantry. The original recipe calls for milk or buttermilk, but I just use water in these and they turn out fine. I wanted to have biscuits to go along with eggs, and then one morning I wanted to make biscuits with gravy. I'll show those meals at the end of the video. I used one of the potatoes that I chopped up and made breakfast potatoes with, and for that I just sprinkled with some garlic powder and salt and fried them until crispy. That morning I used one for breakfast and I put the remainder in a little container for the next breakfast. I cooked both kinds of beans together in the crock pot. I'll use these to make chili, and I also plan to make flautas with them. And if you're not familiar with that term, flautas are like taquitos, but they are made with flour tortillas and they're slightly larger. This was only the second time I've made my own tortillas. I did a much better job than the last time. I made these with margarine though, and they are supposed to be made with lard, which would have given them a little bit fluffier of a texture, but they did turn out great regardless. I'll put a link to a video that shows me making the tortillas if you want to see the full recipe. The most difficult part is getting a perfectly round tortilla. I've also heard of people using butter, shortening, or vegetable oil, and I'm wondering how olive oil would turn out. So if you have any experience with that, please do let me know in the comments below. For one of my meals, I mashed up a few beans, added some paprika and garlic salt, and added it to this tortilla for a burrito. Actually, I did end up frying it, so I guess it's called a chimichanga. I ate this alongside some vegetable soup, and it gave me a little bit more protein. Eating the tortilla like this in the fried chimichanga, it was really tasty, and it tasted similar to what a store-bought tortilla would taste like. I tried roasting some of the chana dal. I sprinkled it with olive oil, garlic, and paprika and roasted them in my toaster oven. They turned out very tasty, but they didn't get as crispy as I would have liked. However, I did enjoy them immensely as a snack. It's amazing how much you appreciate each item when you're on such a restricted budget. I picked up this orzo pasta with the idea that I would try to make orzo salad. I was afraid I was going to overcook it because the pasta is so small that it's difficult to determine if it's al dente or not. The pasta sat and clumped together, and I was certain this was going to be a fail. However, I added a little bit of olive oil to the pasta along with some cut up tomatoes, carrots, and kale, and at the end I sprinkled it with some balsamic vinegar. And this was without a doubt my favorite meal of the week, and it totally reinvigorated my love for balsamic vinegar. At one point in time, balsamic was my favorite vinegar, but somewhere along the way I stopped using it as much. And after eating this, I can't even imagine why. I plan to stock my pantry with orzo pasta. This makes a great low-budget meal and can be made with a variety of vegetables. You could also add feta cheese, sun-dried tomatoes, olives, pecans, or walnuts. But honestly, I would rate this a 10 just as it was. It was delicious. I like to use bouillon to make gravy, and this time I wanted a gravy that tasted similar to milk gravy. Biscuits with gravy is popular in the southern portion of the United States and is delicious. I use the not chicken bouillon, which is a plant-based seasoning with a very mild flavor that made an exceptional gravy. Not only did mine look like milk gravy, but I think I actually liked it better. I'll be using these beans to make some chili. In my last video, some of my viewers told me that they just throw in the textured vegetable protein right into the liquid. So that is what I'm going to do here. For anyone that hasn't seen last week's video, I microwaved the TVP to get a chewy texture, and it was really good. But I am excited to see how this turns out.
This is as good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life. The roads that lay open are many when the old one's gone under the knife. And I can feel the sun on my skin.
This got so thick and it looks just like meat chili. It has a great flavor. I'm not sure. I'm kind of comparing this to our regular chili, and chili is actually one of our favorite meals. So I think it'll take a little bit of adjustment to get me used to eating it like this, but it's very tasty. Thank you so much for watching. I know your time is valuable, so I appreciate the fact that you chose to spend it with me. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.